Tell you what, those apple crumbles are all the rage apparently. Right, this is something different, right? I'm gonna say a phrase which many of you listening are gonna be like, what? Right, and I want you to try and find out what this means. Right, here we go. Abazurnek pul kafes. I'll repeat that. Abazurnek pul kafes. If anyone knows what this means, please drop me a message. We've actually got some podcast merchandise, and we'll get a few t-shirts out to you for anyone getting that right. My dad actually keeps on saying that word, and I have no idea what it means. Actually, I do, but I just want to know if anyone listening knows. So yeah, on the merch, actually, a big shout out to my friends in Trinidad, Alicia and Amsh. Thank you so much for the Bandofla t-shirt. We are going to get lots more of those produced. And hopefully our listeners will be wearing the t-shirts wherever you're listening. So if you're interested in getting one, drop us a message or send us an email. I'll give you more details on that later. So on to other news. It's been just over a year since the scenes in Capitol Hill that left most people around the world watching gawping in amazement. The scenes of the home of American democracy being attacked the way it was will forever live in many of our minds. And those who are caught up with the violence or who were caught doing the violence, I should say, are likely to pay a heavy price. I think a number of them have got their court cases pending, and many will be serving heavy custodial sentences. It's funny that we've not really heard much of Mr. Donald Trump since he was deposed as POTUS, President of the United States. I guess Joe Biden is not everyone's cup of tea, even in the blue part of Washington. But I hope we never see a return of Donald Trump in the White House. I don't think it will be as straightforward as this, though. He's already probably even stronger in the Republican Party than he was before. And I fully expect that the next elections in America will again prove to be a very close run affair. Joe Biden's been in charge for just over a year, and I think it's fair to say that he talks a good game. But as I said already, actions do speak louder than words. COVID is still a challenge for the American leadership. The anti-vaxxers are also being a serious headache for the American administration. And incidentally, the far right are heavily intertwined with, and they're becoming more and more vociferous and aggressive with people, with some people who wear masks being abused or even having their masks ripped off from their faces. So whether you are in favor of a vaccine or not, people should be free to choose and to make up their own minds. Although I think the signs are that governments are going to be going down some kind of compulsory vaccination program, which is, I have to say, not a good thing. People should be able to make their own minds up. So, it doesn't extend to being violent or aggressive. And I think the authorities will need to clamp down on that element of it. So I'm going to go into Europe now, and I'm going to talk about something which has happened in Malta. I've got a real soft spot for this beautiful island. Unfortunately, there's been some really sad and shocking news which has come out of Malta in the last week or so. A young Polish woman was attacked in a cat sanctuary part of Sliema. Paulina Demska was raped and murdered whilst caring for the cats in an area known as Independence Gardens. Anyone who is familiar with Malta, and lots of people travel there, it's a beautiful island, will know the Independence Gardens area. It's unmistakable. It's a huge cat statue. It's a very peaceful area, and the cats live in tranquility. They live at peace, and they are really loved, I have to say. So Paulina was attacked whilst going to care for the cats. Misogyny and the general disrespect for women, towards women in society, is without a doubt still massively problematic. It's not unique to Malta. It's a global problem. It's a huge problem here in the United Kingdom. Paulina's body has been now repatriated back to Poland, and her friends are keen to ensure that justice is done. The suspect is believed to have a history of causing problems for women, local women in Malta, and various posts on social media, on his social media accounts, are believed to have been misogynistic in detail. Maltese police have now appealed for women to come forward if they believe they've been a victim of the suspect. And a crowdfunding appeal has been set up, and it currently stands at over 35,000 euros to support the campaign to get justice for Paulina and to support her family. If you would like to make a donation in memory of Paulina or to support her family, the page is on the gogetfunding.com website. Search Help the Family of Paulina Demska. The thoughts and prayers of Bundofla are with Paulina's family and friends. So elsewhere across the globe, people will have heard the other news about the big earthquake which rocked Tonga. It's actually spotted by satellite cameras, and it showed the scale and ferocity of the explosion. There's massive fears for the safety of the Tongan people, and a tsunami subsequently occurred. Tsunami warnings were given, and I understand that Tonga is quite a flat country, and there wasn't many options for people to escape to higher ground, although there is some higher ground. And we're expecting to hear some significant human losses. But we again offer our thoughts to our brothers and sisters and non-binary friends in Tonga. Our thoughts and prayers are with you. So by the time you hear this, the lovely island of Cyprus, so we're still in the Mediterranean, we're coming back to the Mediterranean, they will be going to the polls for yet another general election. Well, at least the northern part of the island will, which is also known as the Turkish Republic of Northern Cyprus. The contest is quite close to call, but given how good the left are at splitting their own vote, this will probably play directly into the hands of the current ruling party. And I expect Mr. Ersin Tatar, who is the current leader, he will probably win a closely run contest. At least that's my prediction. As much as I love Cyprus, it's my home, or it's my parents' home, so it's my home. And it's the place where my children are currently living. I can't stand the exploitation that goes on across the whole of the island, not just in the north. We'll come back to this subject, and I'm hoping that in the next episode, or certainly soon, we can get an opportunity to speak with Dr. Erol Kaymak, who some of you will remember was on one of our very first episodes when we set out on our podcast journey. There was actually another election in Cyprus. So hopefully Dr. Erol will be able to give us his expert summary on Cyprus politics and give us the rundown. So we're coming to the end of our latest episode, and I guess my parting messages will be as follows. Keep safe, obviously, and do what you can to avoid COVID. I know we've got listeners who are not convinced on COVID, but seriously, people, like I said, I've had a family member who passed away just a week or so ago from COVID. So this shit is real. Yeah. So please keep safe. Let's also keep Ali, our Syrian refugee friend, and his family and other refugees in our thoughts. And remember, please, to lobby the UNHCR through the channels we mentioned earlier in the program. I'm afraid the UK government are dog whistling yet again on this subject, which is what they always default to when they're in the shit, as they know it gets the headlines and plays to the far right audience. For our listeners in America, we're very keen to hear from you, and I would like to extend an invite. If there's any Democrats or Greens who'd like to come on the show and please drop us a message, and we will make this happen. If you're a Republican, sorry, but the show's out of bounds. You are not welcome unless you want to dig some dirt on your party. Then we may make an exception for you. So our final point to finish on is back to Boris again. I can't overstate the obvious in terms of just how bad, just how much contempt he has held the British public in. The constant lies this Prime Minister has been telling the great British public. It's time for the moderate left collective to come together like never before and get this bloody awful government out of power. The Chancellor, Rishi Sunak, has just confirmed that he's written of 43 4.3 billion of COVID-related debt. I wonder how many nurses, doctors, and other key workers could have received, in terms of an inflation-busting pay rise from this money. The Conservatives don't have your interests at heart. Their leader lies freely. It's time for a change, my listeners. Keep on listening, keep on following us. Tell your friends about Bandofla. We are on Twitter @_Bandofla, or you can email us at Email us at podcastbandofla@gmail.com. We're also on YouTube. Just search Bandofla. We do love all of our listeners. Love and peace always wins the day. Keep safe until next time. You've been listening to Bandofla with me, Fevzi Hussein. Peace out.